Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and I am here today with the super special surprise spinning session. So what makes this a special surprise session? Well, I have a mystery package here. My friend Liz dyed some roving for me and mailed it to me. So I don't know what color it is. I don't know like if it's a gradient or multicolored or what. I'm assuming it's probably multicolored, but I don't know how it has been dyed. And so we thought it would be fun for me to not only unbox this mystery roving, but then also spin it for you live, or at least get the spinning started today. Woohoo! I'm so excited that you're going to spin along with me. That is awesome. And so I think I have all of my tools here, but yeah, I might have to switch out the whirls, so really, you're going to really see me look at the fiber and decide, ooh, how do I want to spin this one? And to see what happens. So we've never done this, but I think that this super special surprise spinning session should be a lot of fun. And see, I can say it fast. And I didn't even practice some seashells by the seashore beforehand. But before I open up this package, most of you I think are aware, but last night I launched the ChemKnits Creations Etsy shop. I know many of you have been asking if I sell the yarn that I dye in my videos, and now I can actually say yes, I do. So we're currently having a de-stash sale because I have 3 huge tubs filled with hand-dyed yarn, and I need to make some space so that way I can film some more dyeing videos. And then of course also the proceeds from selling the yarn go into more materials so I can make more videos. So I consider my primary role as a teacher and video maker. And so the shop is to help me continue going big and getting fun, crazy materials for these videos. Oh, you've got your spinning wheel out too? That's awesome! Yay! Oh, it's only showing me. Sometimes the chat modifies things, so I might not see everything. Okay. Hopefully I'm seeing all of the chat messages now. But I do want to, so the link to the shop is in the video description, and I also just dropped it in the chat in case you wanted to check that out while I'm chatting. But I'm also happy, as always, to answer any questions that I can. And I have a new setup. Well, not that new. I mean, I've had the cameras for a while, but I'm going to try a picture-in-picture while I'm spinning, so that way you guys can get hopefully a better view of which you can't see right now because I have my face big, of my drafting hands and stuff. So I hope that will go nicely. But thank you so much for letting me know that we were having sound issues. Okay, so we'll start with that. I haven't figured out where I'm going to put the face. But, okay, well, anyway, let's open up this package. And I really should move myself so that way I can sort of hold this up. There we go. Wait. All right, getting myself on screen. Let's open up this package. All right, you see that first little hint? The 2 cameras. You like the picture-in-picture? Oh, awesome. Ooh, oh, fun. All right. So what we have here, and I'll show on the little camera first, which the color is a little off on the little camera. But what we have here, okay. I'm going to make my little picture go away right now, so that way. Nope, that's the big one. All right, so what we have here, it looks like, I think that there's probably about 200 grams, but we've got a semi-solid purple and then a semi-solid gray. And I know straight from seeing this that I now know that I want to spin a 2-ply yarn. I want to do 1 ply that's the purple and 1 that's the gray, and then spin them together. The package, where's the package from? It's from my friend Liz. So let's see. Ooh. Oh, okay. So it is slightly felted, but I think that I should be able to draft something. Yeah. It's real. The colors are gorgeous. Okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is a little bit of work to pull it apart. So that way I will be able to draft and spin. But you can see that even with, I would say, medium amount of felting, you can still get a really, really pretty yarn. But this will just take me a few minutes. Yeah, but these colors are stunning. Yeah, see, with a little bit of like pre-drafting, I've already separated this and it's fluffy and I'm totally going to be able to draft from it. Which is actually really nice because I haven't gotten something. Oh no. Excuse me, everybody. Hello? Spam. All right, I needed to check just in case it was the kids' school. So then, yeah, what was it? The last time I was going to do a live stream, they, right before, they're like, Ryder ran into a table. He's fine. He barely even has a black eye or anything. Oh, but yeah, this color is so beautiful. I love grays. I love grays a lot. I can pull, while I'm doing this, I can put my face back up. I wanted to be able to hold it up. But yeah, what have you guys all been up to lately? I know some of you mentioned that you guys are spinning right now. Oh. Sorry, as I'm thinking, sometimes I'm able to talk while I work, and then sometimes I start my focus goes. And then I'm like, oh wait, I'm live. Yeah, so this morning I started, well, last night I started pulling the yarns for the orders that I've had already. And then this morning my printer wasn't working. And so I was like, oh, come on. But I put myself in a little timeout. I went for a walk, and while I was reset the internet, so I'm not even sure, and I'm going to go look for a printer cable. But we have a wireless printer. And then, yeah, so I decided to, so I went for a walk and then the printer was working. But for a minute, I was like, uh-oh. Oh, it's Corndale. It is so, so soft. I can just like rub it. The color actually reminds me almost of this gray, almost of a bunny. Aha, here we go. Woohoo! Yeah, so I'm about halfway through fluffing this one. You can't decide if you want to snip some hand-dyed fiber or plain roving and dye the yarn after. Ooh. Yeah, so I usually prefer to, I don't think I've ever, no, I've never dyed more than a mini skein of my hand spun yarn before. Mostly I dye the roving and then spin it. But yeah, it's a hard, but I know a lot of people actually, a lot of my viewers will actually spin the yarn and then dye it. I think it depends on like how much fiber processing is going into the yarn that you spin. I think people that, especially people that start from fleece and stuff, if you have more access to unspun fiber, then you might be more likely to just, I don't know, maybe not. It's just, I think, all personal preference if you want to start with spinning your hand spun or ooh, look at this. Okay, so I think that the colors are a little bit, so right here we've got this shade of almost navy on here. Oh, I love a good semi-solid. Oh. Yeah, it's Corriedale. I'm not, it's funny, I don't know, always know how to pronounce all the different breeds of sheep. But, oh, this is so pretty. All right, see, I've just got this last bit left. And then, yeah, I still have to film the recap from the Breaking Black special. Basically, I was working on adding stuff to the shop, and then I decided, I thought that I might not launch until next week, but then I decided that I had enough stuff ready to go and everything was photographed that I should just go for it versus waiting. But so that delayed the filming of the Broken Black video recap. And so I plan to work on filming the end of that video today and tomorrow. And so hopefully that video will be up before Friday. I'm always talking about purple and gray. You don't want to break the violet since it's my thing. Oh, fun. All right. Yeah, so this is nice. Even if the fibers are, getting a bit felted from your processing, it might take a little more effort to pull them apart at first, but I have a feeling that we're still going to be able to spin something really, really fantastic. It just needs a little bit of I guess it's not quite drafting yet, but pre-fluffing. Oh, but look at these colors. Aha! Here we go. We got some nice fluff. Some nice little, oh. It's hard to know the direction to move to get in. All right. So now I need to figure out where to put the picture in picture so that way it'll be least disruptive. Maybe I need to make it a little smaller. So my head is from my laptop camera. Oh, that works. Okay. My head is on my laptop camera. And I think I'm going to do this probably will end up with maybe like DK weight singles. We'll see how it drafts in my hand. I'm not good at predicting my weights as I'm spinning. I consider myself a novice spinner. There's teal and navy in the purple. Ooh. So this is my Kromsky Fantasia wheel. Her name is Sandry. And obviously I love her. But she's named after one of my favorite book characters from when I was a kid. And, I was like, I haven't spun in a while. Dyeing roving versus dyeing yarn. When you've scoured fleece, it's just easier to go ahead and dye it when it's wet. Oh, that makes sense. I have never started, wait. Oh, I was like, I'm missing something. Can you tell it's been a little while since I've done some spinning? There we go. That's where my break band goes. So it's funny, I had my break band break a couple times, and then it snapped on a live stream once, and then I bought a new one that was this plastic material, and it didn't really work very well for me. And so then I ended up buying, or not buying, the labels that I use for my yarn come with this hemp for ties, and I don't want to, excuse me, I don't want to use the hemp to to put on the yarn just because it just isn't super smooth. But it works perfect as a new break band. So, All right, there we go. Oh, good. You're not even squeaking today. I forget if I re-oiled her recently, but I use the same leaders over and over. I cannot, oh, you know what I should do? I should move this to, here, now I can see how many of you are on. Okay, and I tend to, let me think. So I tend to do what? I always mix up S and Z, so you can watch me trying to think. I can't even, like, I'm feeling dyslexic right now. I don't actually have dyslexia. I was tested, but I mixed things up enough that I was actually tested for it as a kid. So let's pull off section. Okay. Let's see. Well, let's see what you want to become. But I'm starting off spinning the wheel clockwise. I had to think about like what my, yes, I'm going clockwise. Okay. Wow, you guys. I was like, all of a sudden my brain just is not really working. But okay, I have a feeling, so this is not drafting super easily, even with the fluffing. So I have a feeling this is going to become a fairly chunky yarn. So I am able to separate it though, but it's not really drafting. All right. Man, I've got some, this is going to almost feel like a little bit of an art yarn because I've got too much twist in some sections. Let's see if I can increase, there we go, that's what I wanted to do, increase the uptake. I think I might need to go to really slow myself down. Good morning. Yeah, here it's about almost 11 o'clock. There we go. All right, this is going to be a real thick and thin semi-solid yarn that will do 2-ply. Maybe I'll need to find my, too bad I don't have my, I've been meaning to buy the jumbo flyer and stuff for this wheel. It's been on my list for a while. All right, this one's taking a little more of my focus. But yeah, there's sections that draft really, really easily. And then there's some that maybe I didn't fluff quite enough. But yeah, because if I try to like pre-draft gently, I'm pulling it apart. Yeah, I think that the part of the issue is that this is slightly felted, so it's not drafting. I'm pretty bad about pre-drafting. I sort of pull, and then I tend to do a short draft. But yeah, I'm sort of listening. I'm listening to the fiber and doing what she wants. There we go. Yeah, so I'm now on my biggest whirl. oh, to slow myself down because I tend to treadle pretty quickly. But this will be a really fun, I think a really fun thick and thin. Whoa. Oh, that was just a little piece. I was like, I thought I threw the whole section that I was working on onto the ground. All right. Anyways, ooh, wrap around. You're afraid of that? It took a lot of rinses. Well, Liz, I'm able to spin it. So therefore, and actually, this is actually a really good thing for me as well, because I've never tried, so I haven't felted fiber before, but I also haven't tried spinning one that has been felted. And I think it's nice to be able to show the example that, if you do start off with some felted fiber, hope is not lost. You can still make a really, really fun yarn. So yeah, well, see, this is the thing. Without having seen it, I didn't really have a whole plan going into it. But I was thinking about maybe trying to go for a thinner yarn today, but sometimes you need to listen to the fiber and see what it wants to do. Oh, maybe I can zoom in a little more now. So you guys can see my hands a bit better. Configure video. Zoom. And then the tilt. There we go. And maybe move, oh. There, this way you guys can see my hands a bit better. Oh, no, wrong, Rebecca, wrong thing. There we go. There we go, that works. This is Corriedale, and yeah, it's a LuLaRoe dress. It's an Amelia. I really, really like them because they have pockets and they're stretchy and they're long enough that I can like bend and go on the playground and all kinds of stuff. But I like wearing Maleficent stuff while I'm spinning. I think that it tends to go nicely. Uh-oh. Got a little thick. I know I'm going to have I might have some trouble. Oh, I do have a jumbo orifice somewhere. But when things get a bit too thick. Yeah, please don't feel bad. I am having a lot of fun. I'm just having to focus a bit more. That's all. Hi, Pauline. Welcome. You always have to candy and twist when you spin. See, and again, like my whole thing is that, sometimes you try things and sometimes things work. Sometimes things don't work as well. But I think that, see here, right now I'm able to, oh, you can't see my second hand. Right now I'm able to get some drafting. It's just some sections. Well, see, we're getting real thick and thin. It's harder with this. I'm having a harder time controlling the amount that I draft. Yeah, because there's some sections that now all of a sudden, oh my God. That's thick and thin. There's some sections that are just, I'm unable, there we go. Yeah, there's some sections that I'm just a little unable to draft easily. But I think it'll just make it, really fun. So just like with colors, like if you end up, I guess I haven't ended up with something that I considered like a brown muddy mess, but it's always something that I like to, I guess I like to consider like, okay, my attitude towards dyeing and things in general are, I wonder what will happen if. And sometimes things work better than others. Like when I dyed the yarn, I dyed some roving with tie-dye, and I was a little disappointed after because it came out, since that required a lot of rinsing, it was lightly felted. Not quite as much as this one that I'm spinning today, but I was, it's really easy, I think, to start felting the outside of it. I think you just need to try in general to minimize the agitation of your fibers, especially in the rinse bath. A portable wheel. Well, so I'm spinning on a Kromsky Fantasia, which has a really small footprint. And I know, so this is also the only wheel that I've ever spun, so therefore it's the only one that I recommend. There is the affiliate Knit Picks link to this wheel in the video description. But I think that this is one that a lot of people like to use as a portable wheel because it has a small little footprint. I keep looking over there, forgetting that my face is over there. Exactly, a design element. There we go. Not a mistake. Yeah. But yeah, I've been really happy with this wheel. I think because you can. I mean, as far as wheels go, I think price wise, it's probably in the low middle end, but I don't think that the parts are that expensive there. No worries. My pleasure. All right. Uh-oh. We're going to go real thin. There we go. Yeah. The problem is I'm not always aware of when I'm able to draft or not, but you know what this actually reminds me of a little bit with this really thick and thin? It reminds me of some of my first yarns, which I've saved for a bunch of different projects. I actually have, I think I turned the very first yarn I ever spun into some dragonfly wings for one of my designs. I did a hand spun version, and so that's something that was fun. But welcome everyone. If you are just tuning in, today I am spinning some fiber that my friend dyed and sent to me. So I didn't know what was going to be in the package until it arrived. And so this is some Cordial. Is that how I pronounce it? Please correct me if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. That has been dyed in a semi-solid gray. And then there's also 100 grams that is in this semi-solid purple. And so the fiber is, a bit felted, but I have been able to fluff it out. So I fluffed the first one already. And so we're sort of spinning a fun thick and thin yarn because my ability to draft comes and goes. But so that's sort of the summary of what we're up to today. These colors are a lot of fun. Oh, but yeah, I love wearing my Maleficent clothes when I spin. It's sort of like, don't touch my spinning wheel. Oh gosh, but the weather has turned so gorgeous here. Ooh, I wonder, maybe sometime I should do like some spinning outside. That would be fun. Could get noisy. There's a lot of new construction going on in the neighborhood. But yeah, I think that it could be fun to bring this outside. The weather is gorgeous today. Although maybe I'd worry about the fiber blowing away. Have any of you done like spinning demonstrations anywhere? I've never done any myself. So I'm just curious if, how you manage or what kinds of things you need to keep in mind when you do some spinning outside. But yeah, I have some other, so I guess some things that are in my queue that I've been meaning to do that maybe I actually will work on today now that I have the spinning wheel out. I plan to I have some yarn that was single ply, but then I am going to spin it with some silk thread. So then we can have like a 2-ply with one thick, one thin ply. And then I want to dye that because the silk should take up dye differently from the wool. And I think that that'll be a really, really fun project. Lisa, yeah, in general, like I have my hands really close together for drafting. This fiber is slightly felted, so I'm struggling with it a bit more, but I appreciate the suggestion. In general, I do a really short draft. So in general, like I have my hands like this and I slowly sort of like feed the yarn through, but I am, yeah, struggling a bit with getting this to draft. So but I think it's good practice. I like challenges and I like doing new things. So this is fun. We have a lot of birds, so they snatch the fiber away for their nests. Oh goodness. Oh, you're gonna do some spinning outside in June? It would really benefit from being put through a drum carder. Ah, I don't have a drum carder. So I actually, so for my Patreon, which there's also a link through the video description, I'm like, gee, there's so many things I'm promoting right now. I've got the affiliate link to my wheel. I've got I've got my new Etsy shop, and then there's my Patreon, which is sort of a way to sort of subscribe. You can subscribe as a patron, and then there's some perks with like early access of new videos, behind the scenes sneak peeks, and things like that. But I put as one of my goals on the, like my big stretch goal on the Patreon, I was like, okay, if I hit this dollar amount each month, I will buy a drum carder. But I have a more, still a stretch goal, but a more modest goal that will be adding a new yarn to the regular rotation. And so I would let then the patrons vote on whether or not I would add a wool alpaca nylon blend or a wool silk blend to then, and then I'd start buying that one in bulk, and then it would be featured in more dyeing videos. So I'm trying to expand from just doing the stroll and wool of the Andes bases that I love. I actually haven't dyed roving in a while. I think that I need to do a new roving Dye Pot Weekly video. So a drum carder is, okay, so it sort of looks like, you know those pavement flatteners that have the like really big roll? Sometimes there's electric ones, but sometimes they have a hand crank. And so it's sort of like it's like a circular carder and a flat bed, and you can kind of feed fiber through, and the fibers can be taken up around. And so that's how you can make bats. Oh, don't worry about it. Would using hand carders help with felted roving? I don't know. I do technically have hand carders, but the one time I've really tried to use them, I guess I've tried to use them twice, but I ended up getting some flesh in my roving, or in my rolags. I guess you get rolags off of carders. And I guess one of the other problems is that a lot of the fiber that I buy arrives already ordered. So it's usually either as combed top or roving already. I do have some, I think, chinchilla rabbit fiber that Keith has bought for me twice because he thought that it would, I mean, it's so soft. And so that's something that I would need to card. And we've also been saving, Indy is like a white fluffy dog. We've been saving his fur to also use at some point, which the staple length of his fur is, it's straight, and although it's fluffy, the fiber lengths are only a couple inches long, so I would need to blend it with something. So maybe that's something that I would do with a drum carder. Oh my gosh, your whole AP Calculus class is watching right now. Hi guys! Oh, I loved AP Calculus. I don't think I could, it's been a long time since I've done any integrals or anything, but I took that my junior year, and what was it, BC Calc? There's like AB and BC. Got a 5 on my AP. Very, very proud of that. Hey, see, when you're in your 30s, you might still think about what you got on an AP exam. But to be honest, this is the first time I've thought about it. So also, yeah, you don't really think about your AP scores much after you get into college. Oh, that's a much better description. Drum cutter is a drum with fine teeth, and you pass the roving through it and it combs it. Yeah, so if you ever see people that do these gorgeous art bats, so you end up with these more rectangular pieces of fiber, you can get sort of layers. So you can take solid colors like a bright yellow and then do purple, and you can get these heathered sort of colors. And it's a whole new, to me, it's a whole new world of mixing color and fiber and creating another fun way to play with color. And so that's why I decided that a stretch would be getting that, a nice stretch goal would be to get that piece of equipment to then, that would kind of create like a new little direction of videos that I could do. Oh, thank you. Oh, no, I loved, and so I did AP Calculus when I was a junior. So then my senior year, I did an independent study in vector calculus, which was basically me hanging out with my math teacher a lot of the time. Some of my friends were able to make their schedules work so they could go take a class at the community college, but I wasn't able, the transportation and everything didn't really work for me. So I did the independent study, and we got maybe a third of the way through the course. So then when I took that first semester in college, it was great because I had already done the first third of the class. Yeah, so I am able to pull this apart. I'm not sure if I would be able to card it really, but that's not a bad suggestion. Whew. There we go. But see, nevertheless, we are getting a really, really pretty looking yarn. And the nice thing is that it's probably, well, some of the thin sections might not be as sturdy, but it's probably really sturdy too. So see, there's lots and lots of benefits. Okay. Wait, I saw the oops. Sometimes when I'm watching live streams, sometimes I put on the live stream while I'm editing a video, which is always a little funny, but I tend to lightly edit my videos to leave as much of the oops stuff in as possible. And then, but yeah, I like watching live streams while I do housework. Actually, I put them on a lot while I'm sorting laundry, which, oh goodness. Now I'm thinking about laundry. We have a massive, they're all clean. The laundry's always clean. It's just in a pile. So it needs to be sorted. That is probably one of my other big projects this week. Oh, to get some clothes so that way I can have clothes ready for the kids for school this week. Oh, goodness. Okay. Hi, Marie. Welcome. And no worries. So today, since you're just joining and I see some other people just joined. So today is the Okay, and I can't even remember the super special surprise spinning session. Um, I got a mystery package from a friend, and she dyed 200 grams of roving. There's this semi-solid gray with some flecks of navy that I'm working on right now. And then there's 100 grams of this purple with, ooh, there I can see some of the turquoise with turquoise and navy in it. And so the fiber is felted, but we're still able to spin it. So it just took some processing. So I basically had to do if you go back and watch the replay at the beginning, and it takes a little bit of work, but I was able to, we'll see. I was struggling with that one, but I was able to pull apart the whole gray one. And so we're spinning since it's not necessarily easy to draft, we're getting like a thick and thin, and it'll be almost like an art yarn. And so I am excited. And this is showing that if you do felt your fiber when you're dyeing roving, hope is not lost. You can still get a really fun yarn out of it. You just might not expect to get perfect lace weight singles. So, but yeah, it's so, oh no, okay, there we go. But yeah, you can see I'm going real thick and thin because sometimes I'm able to draft it, and then sometimes it is thicker. So I think that once I get to plying this, I might actually have to stop and help the wheel sometimes because some of it might be so thick it'll be hard to get through, but I think that it'll still be really, really pretty. See, some of these sections are, yeah, we're getting from like between, there's some sections that are more fingering weight, and then there's some bulky in these singles, but I think it can be really fun for like even holding this once it's spun, holding it double to make like a mega chunky hat or something could be really fun. So I have a question for you viewers at home. Is the focus staying pretty consistent on my hands? Or is it, I know sometimes the webcam goes back and forth when it's trying to autofocus on stuff. So I'm curious because I'm not seeing that constantly how that's going. But I think in general, I kind of like the setup. I mean, my head is really small. I could probably zoom into that a bit more, but I think that it gives you a little better view of the spinning, which I have not been able to do before today. So, uh-oh. Focus is good. Oh, awesome. Thank you. That was one of the things that I was very curious about as I was setting this up. But it's funny with YouTube, and of course I had the sound off when I started. But with YouTube and doing the streaming, there's a bit, I don't have any lag built in, but there is naturally a bit of a lag just because of the time it takes, I think, for my house to upload the content. And then, yeah, so there's a tiny bit of a lag. So then, even though sometimes I start things on time on my end, then I'm like, it ends up taking like a minute to come through. Oh, good. I'm glad the focus is good. Okay, don't worry about any over twist. Yeah, sometimes that ends up staying behind, but this is actually a really, really good exercise for me. Both being on the fly, but in terms of what I can do with fiber and recommend with fiber. But let's see. This one, okay, this one might be felted a bit worse than the other one. I mean, I think the inside is fine. Oh, here we go. The end, okay, so the end was worse than, trying to get so you guys can see. So the end was worse than and then this middle section. So it's almost like, what are those cookies with like the harder outside and softer center that are like a tube? So they're, yeah, it just takes some work kind of pulling it apart to sort of get to something that could be spun. Although, to be honest, this is also like real, like as a super jumbo yarn, just like as is kind of fun. You could almost make like a nice, like, you could almost crochet with this directly. So there are applications where you could felt roving intentionally. So, oh yeah, it does. No, I love, this is my, where is she? Oh, here she is. My Maleficent. Oh, nope. There we go. My Maleficent dress. I love it. Um, yeah, yeah. So when I was a little girl, I desperately wanted the movie Sleeping Beauty for my birthday. Of course, this is like pre-internet. You AP Calculus, you're still watching. So I guess I'm an old fogey, huh? So pre-internet. So we, yeah, but my mom had, like, my parents were searching locally. Both sets of grandparents who lived on either side of the country were looking, and no one could find it because it was in the vault, the old Disney vault, which, the vault still exists. So they re-release videos all the time, and videos can be harder to find. But with the internet, you can usually find a reseller now, so you can get your hands, or you can buy a digital copy, so you can get hands on the Disney things that you want. Um, oh, no worries. I am atrocious at spelling, and I'm a fast typer, but I make typos all the time. And yeah, in general, my brain goes a bit faster than, sometimes I can talk and write, and so I have messy handwriting as well. Oh, focus is the bomb. Ah, that's awesome. Mwah. I'm enjoying this picture in picture. Um, I really like my webcam. I do wish, it's funny, I think the colors are actually coming through a bit better today. I guess the reds are still a little more muted than they tend to be in real life, but I have trouble with the color balance because there's a limit to, like, I can adjust the white balance, which is basically an adjustment of the amount of yellows, but I can't add reds back in. So I can change the exposure, but there's not like a compensation for like the different colors to change the color balance manually. And so that is a bit of a bummer. I tried to see if I could use my DSLR as a webcam at one point, but whoops. See, this is where sometimes it gets a little too thick for Sandry to take up easily. What was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to try to use my DSLR as a webcam, but there's not, the only way to do that would be to like have it connected to your computer and then do a screen capture, which I'm like, there's not the benefit of the high def there. You got Sleeping Beauty on VHS for your birthday when it was released. Oh, I'm glad you're here too. Your daughter made a Maleficent costume herself. Oh, that's awesome. The Disney Vault. Yeah. Oh. Oh man, I can't tell you how, as a little redhead girl, how happy the Little Mermaid made me. Well, apparently I just learned that they made her a redhead because there was like some other mermaid movie that had come out, like a live action one, and they didn't want the character to seem too much like the other one. So I thought that that was interesting. Um, Although who knows if that was actually a real fact. Um, but Yeah, and so then now I have a really good collection of Disney movies, because whenever anything came out of the vault, it used to be at Costco, and so then we'd be like, ooh ooh ooh, this movie. Well, we clearly need to own this one. Because when we were starting to have kids, we're like, we should build up our collection of these kids movies. Um, but then Costco stopped selling movies, and so that's a bit of a bummer. I forget what I'm still waiting to come out of the vault. I feel like there was something that I had as a kid that we don't own yet. But oh, we just saw Coco. Oh, I cried. Um, Lucas is like, "Mommy, why are you sad?" I was like, "I'm so happy." It was funny, but it was a delightful, gorgeous, gorgeous movie. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, great. Something finally for us ginger kids. uh, yeah. Lucas isn't as big of a fan of The Little Mermaid. He went through a huge Lion King phase, but now he really likes PJ Masks. So he's like, "Mommy, I like shows. I don't like movies." Um, but we watch Frozen a lot now. But that's a modern one. But a huge fan. Really excited for Frozen 2. We recently showed Lucas The Incredibles, which I might have thought would be too old for him, but he saw a little bit of it in the waiting room at the doctor's office, and so then we decided to watch the rest. And so with the sequel of that coming out, maybe we'll have like a little family like movie theater day. So, but the first movie I took Lucas to see in theaters was Cars #3, and he did great. It was like a mommy Lucas day, and so we went out together, and he got his huge bucket of movie pop. Well, by huge I mean I got him a small movie popcorn, but to him it was a huge bucket of movie popcorn. And I think I let him pick a candy too, and he was like, "Whoa, I get candy!" So that was adorable, adorable. Um, but he likes having Lucas mommy time. Oh, because it was a big deal because we went out the two of us without Ryder. Um, yeah, I've never dyed my hair. I have actually. Where was? Oh, it was in someone else's live stream. I was joking that I should like do a Wilton's Violet ombre on my hair, because I know some people will dye their hair with Kool-Aid, which I'm sure doesn't last very long and probably is not advisable. But I was like, ooh, you could like food coloring your hair. But I'm sure it wouldn't last very well. But I have been tempted to say like do like some blue or purple sort of like peekaboo streaks. But the problem is that my hair color is dark enough that I wouldn't want to have to bleach it first. And I don't think that there's anything that would show up really, unless maybe I did a navy on my hair. So I have never dyed it, except for, okay, I did do one of those like temporary spray paint hairspray things. I've done those a couple times, but I don't think glitter really counts. No, I did blue. I was a twister board one year, not thinking of the obvious jokes. Like, I was like, oh, this is a cute little retro mod dress, like a twister board. And I didn't think of some of the crass jokes that could have come from that. So now I always try to think twice before I do a costume. Yeah, so I don't mind PJ Masks as much as like I do like that that it's like sort of like playground resolution for the superheroes, like playground type conflicts. But yeah, I prefer things like I love Daniel Tiger because I think that it actually helps. Like the jingles really help us a lot. And oh, I like Super Y because that has like it shows the power of words and reading, and so I think that that one's fun. But when Lucas broke his collarbone, we did a lot of TV at the beginning. You tried bleaching your hair once and it stayed ginger. Oh, funny. Yeah, my hair, like, it gets like more of, because it's more like auburn than a bright red. But every summer, every winter, people are like, your hair's turning brown, and it's like, no, it's not. It's like I step out into the sunlight and then it goes. And then once I like spend some time in the sun, then it gets lighter again. Um, do do do. Uh, but right, so Lucas is blonde, a dirty blonde, but Lucas is blonde. Okay. My parents and brother all have dark brown hair. So I think having a blonde child, I'm sure Lucas's hair will absolutely darken as he gets older, but having a dark blonde child amuses me to no end. Um, and then Ryder is also blondish, but he has a hint of red. So I'm excited. I was really excited. Keith has red in his beard, so I knew that some red in his beard. So I knew that there was a shot that we could have some red in our kids. But Lucas looks so much like his dad that Ryder looks a little more like me. I think he also looks a lot like his dad, but in general, since Lucas looks almost nothing like me, it's nice to see some of me and my boys. And the nice thing is, so my aunt has the same hair color as me, and she's over 60 now. And she has gray hair, but it sort of just makes it looks like blonde streaks in her hair. Versus my mom is a little more salt and pepper. So, yeah, someday I might dye it, but I'm more like, I think that it's not about the dyeing of my hair. It's more about the upkeep of it. And so I wouldn't mind bleaching the hair for bright, like parts of the hair for some brightly colored streaks, but then you have to re-dye it and maintain it, or else you lose the color. And so that part, I'm very, very low maintenance when it comes to my hair. When, like, I guess in my 30s, it started to be a little more. It's always been straightish with some body, but I realized that I had some waves, so I just use this like basically a salt spray, and then scrunch it a bit, and then let it air dry. So I've learned. I'm like, it's like I'm very, very low maintenance. Well, not necessarily low maintenance, but I put low effort. Low effort. Oh, oh, come on. Oh, that is brother. Jacob, if you're watching, I'm in a live stream. I don't think he's watching though, because he just called me. Oh, my brother. But it's not the school. I would silence the phone, except I'm always afraid that the school is going to call and say, like, you know, your kid threw up or something. Because, you know, inevitably, well, there was a period of. I'll let him know. Live stream. I should have a. No, I don't want to change the SMS app. I should get a like auto reply that's like a live stream option. That would be hilarious. You guys are awesome. Nah, not dating yourself. Yeah, my sister-in-law had rainbow bangs for a little bit, like a peekaboo rainbow. So it was, you know, her normal hair color on top, and then if you lifted them up, then there was this rainbow. Her one of her best friends is a hairdresser, and uh, so it was awesome, and I was really jealous. But yes, most of my dye tends to stick with. Um, I dye fiber, just I guess not on my own person. I haven't dyed myself a T-shirt in a while. Um, but Keith is a trooper, and then the kids like stuff that mommy creates. I think I want to redo their, because well, Lucas still fits in his star shirt from last year, but Ryder's outgrown his, so maybe I need to make them for summer like a new star shirt. Wow, this really, it's funny because this is, so I'm spinning this gray right now, and the very first yarn that I ever spun was undyed. And that was like really thick and chunky. But then I decided to give it another try, and I did this dusty purple. And this is really, really reminding me of that yarn. And so I keep, except it was on the drop spindle, not the wheel, but I keep having like mini flashes to that, which is really fun. Um, Yes. Well, that's what happened before my last live stream was that like, you know, they called and they're like, so, you know, this is the nurse at, you know, school name. And I'm like, uh-huh. And they're like, he's fine, but he ran into a table and had a black eye. And I'm like, okay, is his eye? Yeah. So then I asked some questions because they're calling in case I wanted to pick him up. And I'm like, do I need to pick him up? Because I mean, like I just kind of wanted to gauge like I only would have picked him up if they thought that he needed to go see a doctor or something, or that he might need to go to the ER. Um, but he's a little daredevil, so he very frequently ends up with bruises because he runs, and he goes for it. Um, so we're like, you know, you gotta slow down and watch where you're going. Oh, 2-year-olds, but he's fearless. Lucas was a lot more cautious. Um, so it took like longer for Lucas to want to go down a slide. And now Ryder will, I mean, he'll climb up ladders. So we have to keep a little closer of an eye on him. Ah, yeah. Ah, ah. Yeah, I think that on, so I can't quite see what I'm looking at my software right now versus like what's coming through on YouTube, but there's more blue in the gray than I think what is showing up. I mean, I would call this sort of a purple blue gray. It's really, really lovely. Oh, fun. Oh. Do-do. Separating this so that way maybe I can draft it. Do-do-do. Some small pieces, but you can overlay them. All right. There we go. Oh, your daughter started grading at 18? Oh, wow. Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad that they figured that out. Yeah, I'm glad that YouTube started adding like live chat replay, especially because have been pretty bad about reading comments out loud in general. But then we'll see if I edit when I try to edit out the like no sound portion of this video, if what that does to the chat. Oh, why did I toss it over there? Speaking of, no, I don't want, no, 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 no. It's like change messaging app. It's like, no, please no. Um, what? Oh, okay. Everything is good. Everything is good. But anyway, for those of you that placed orders with me, I'm planning to ship packages out to drop them off at the post office tomorrow. So I'm going to try to create all of the labels tonight and then get them to the post office first thing tomorrow. So if you have been thinking about, if you've been checking out my shop and thinking about ordering some yarn, if you order it now, I should be able to get that out tomorrow morning. So, but it's been kind of fun. So the one hard thing I would say about Etsy is that there's a lot that you can't see before things are live. But you guys have all been really great and patient as I've been working out with kinks. Oh, the Simply Woolen Alpaca came back in stock at Knit Picks. Oh, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. That's the one that I used the Simply Wool and Winkle for that rainbow speckled yarn. But I'm just dropping my shop link into the chat one more time. Or I guess another time. I'll probably do it one more time before I stop. Yeah, I really like the Knit Picks Simply Wool line a lot. They used to have, so back in the day, they had something called Full Circle that they had, it was roving that they had in all these natural wool colors. And I loved it. It was sort of like it was a recycled yarn. So they used like remnant, like parts of like merino and the Peruvian Highland wool, then like blended it together. And it was just beautiful. But it was a limited edition. There was a yarn and roving, but I really, really liked it. And then, oh, this part will draft really nicely, I think. Yeah, but so then when that went away, I've been missing some of those like natural colors, but I was really, really happy with the Simply Wool yarn that I ordered. It did only come with one tie on it. So if you're going to dye it, you might want to add some additional ties to it. But I've only used the worsted one so far. And I haven't tried the alpaca yet, but the colors I think are absolutely lovely. Would I consider doing a video undying a silk t-shirt or cami? Oh, maybe at some point. I've got some videos where I've dyed some silk scarves. And when I do another Dharma order at some point, I'm planning on getting some more some larger silk scarves. Would that be helpful? I'm a little more hesitant to, I guess I just haven't checked the pricing to do a full shirt. But I do have plans to do a lot more silk dyeing in the future. I found that in general, silk absorbs the dye a lot slower. Significantly slower than, say, the wool. And it needed more acid and time. And overall, the colors ended up being, now this was a, I guess the silk scarves I did ended up being really vibrant. But a wool silk blend that I did was, in the Broken Violet colorway, was more muted than, say, the wool and alpaca blends and some of the other ones I've done in the same colorway. Actually, you can see a good picture of that in the shop. But I think silk might be able to take, maybe it can take more color, or you need to use more color to get it to be really, really vibrant. Um, but yeah, so I'm definitely open to it. It's funny. So I have one of my most popular videos is a tie-dyed t-shirt video that I did. But I think that the viewers of that video are almost orthogonal to a lot of you that watch the yarn dyeing and spinning and stuff. So it's funny because when I was doing the Kickstarter, I did a survey to be, like what kinds of things do you want to see me dye? And, mostly like everything, the end result was a little bit of everything, but I don't think anyone selected t-shirts. So that was very interesting for me. So it was my Kickstarter backers were not the same people that are watching the tie-dyed t-shirt video. And you guys are awesome. And normally, they always be like, ooh, the YouTube comment section. And so on some of those videos, the comment sections are not as warm and loving as all of you can be. You finished your 10-stitch crochet blanket yesterday? Oh, awesome. Oh, your local yarn store is having a contest? Ooh. It's funny. I need to figure out my local yarn store out here. There've been a couple that I've checked out that are a little further away, but there used to be one that I could walk to when I lived in Evanston. And so that was really nice. It's like, oh, I need some yarn for this project. I can just run around the corner and get it. I really miss being able to do that. I am approaching, so I've got a tiny bit in my lap, and then this is all that is left of this gray. Yeah, I've got some roving that I dyed in on the live stream a while ago that I've been meaning to spin. I just, have my ASAP projects tend to, I have a list of probably like over 100 video ideas, at any given time. But then I also have a list of like things that I need to do like soon. But that list keeps growing. So I'm like, ooh, I want to do this right away. I want to do that right away. So these are, I guess, like vlogger problems. Oh. So yeah, pretty cool how, going from this and still getting a gorgeous yarn. And it's really, really soft. I am having fun. It's been, spinning is like, oh dear, nice and therapeutic. And I've mentioned this already, but when I was like going for the shop launch, I already had the spinning session scheduled, and I was like, oh, that'll be like nice and relaxing after the stresses of setting everything up. But so far, I think things are going smoothly. There were a couple minor snags that I think have been worked out. And so after lunch, I'm going to start seeing how the shipping interface works. But I think that it seems like it's going to be smoother than Kickstarter was. Oh, fun! Oh, fun! I need. It's funny. I have, and I think that I may have marked this. It was a hat that I've been working on for Keith. And I think I may have marked it as done in Ravelry, but I technically have not wound the yarn through the last few stitches and woven in the loose ends. I'm like, I'm so close to done, but it's just like sitting in the corner. Um, no, there's so many things that I want to make with some of these yarns that I've dyed, but I have like a list. Well, the hat that I'm making, Keith, was with yarn that Lucas dyed. Um, yeah, Keith lost one of his hats, um, which I know he was very disappointed by. Um, he has a bigger head than I do, so it, which I learned the hard way when I made him this gorgeous hat with a this folded brim, and then like I mean he wore it all the time, but you would see the part that was supposed to be hidden under the folded brim because I measured it on myself, not on him. So now if there's something like more of a pattern, I'm like, okay, close your eyes, let me see your head. Yeah, I should try. So I've had a request to bring out the drop spindle again, and so maybe I need to do like a little series and dye. I'm not sure what I have that's hand dyed and unspun in my stash right now. I know I have 200 grams of this one yarn, but I don't really want to do that with the drop spindle. But yeah, I'll try to pull out, actually, since you guys are talking about making your own drop spindles, I've never tried doing that. So maybe I'll have to try to do that too and get some materials, make a drop spindle, and then spin some yarn with it. Because really, like, I find in general, a wheel, if you're starting out spinning, a wheel is really, really easy to use. Okay, it's really fun that you see my face and then you see my hands talking. Um, Wheels I find are really, really easy to use. And I like, I thought that there would be more of a learning curve there, but since I had started on the drop spindle, it was like, oh, I don't think I've picked up the drop spindle since, well, I've picked it up. I don't think I've used the drop spindle since I got the wheel. But, so the wheel is really easy to use. It's just a lot more expensive. So before I got the wheel, I was like, okay, let's try, if I'm spinning a lot of fiber on my drop spindle consistently, then we'll start, looking into whether or not I should get a wheel. And then Keith and his parents surprised me for my birthday with this. So, I mean, I said, it was on my wish list because I was like, okay, I have to save up for it. But yeah, I used to have a workout incentive to be able to buy yarn. Oh, I forgot about that. That was back in the day. So I had to like do X amount of exercise. It was like to be like a carrot at the end of the tunnel. And so, oh, the early days, the early days. Can you overdye roving without knowing the fiber content of the roving? Probably. I don't think that should be. I don't think that should be a problem at all. You can always try like take a little piece of it and try dyeing it to see how it takes up color. I think the only thing you really need to know is like, unless you're going to use like a fiber reactive dye that would work on more fiber contents, but you sort of just need to know what the fiber content, you don't need to know like the mix of it. You just need to know like, will this dye work on it? So before trying like all the roving, I might do like a tiny bit just to, just so that way you know that it'll work, I guess. Oh, good. Oh, Lucy, I think that you might be watching on the DVR. If you're responding to my focus request now, that's okay. That's one nice thing about using like this software versus using my streaming on my phone is that you guys can DVR, or like you guys can, if you join live, you can go back and watch from the beginning. It just means that you might not, if you ask questions, you might not hear the response for a while. But you know that you're watching the live stream with what is coming through now. If you see, there's like the video should say live, and there'll be like a little red dot next to it. And so that's how you know that you are current. Because I've made the mistake on, there's like a little preview that I can see so I know how things are going. And I've made the mistake in the past of having, of not being up to date. And so I'm like, why is this looking strange? Oh dear. Oh. Again, everything is fine. Okay. We are approaching the end. Okay. Oh, good. There are tutorials for making spinning wheels. Now that would be an adventure. Wow. Yeah, I think we just made, oh, so in the early days, before I had even a nitty noddy, I would just wrap like the yarn around a Tupperware container. And then I looked and I was like, ooh, I don't know. And then I found that like you could make them out of PVC pipe. And so now I have a million pieces of PVC pipe around for that. And so I'm like, ooh, I sort of want a warping board. Maybe we can make one out of PVC pipe. And so I have this newfound love for PVC pipe. My friend made like a whole reading tent and ball pit out of PVC pipe. She is very creative. Okay, and we've hit the end. Okay, let me show you guys. Oh, let me put this little camera away. Nope, that was the big one. Okay, here is the yarn that we spun. And so this is again like a, I don't know if you would call it a gray or a dusty blue gray. It's definitely, there's almost like a hint of purple to it overall. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And if you're tuning in late, this was a surprise mystery package of roving that I received from a friend. And so I opened it up and decided how to spin it today. And since the roving ended up being sort of medium felted, I was able to sort of pull it apart, but it was a little hard to draft. So therefore we've got this sort of thick and thin yarn, which if you're going to have, I mean, I suppose like a classic hand spun yarn would almost still be perfect and a little indistinguishable, but this is definitely a unique, non-commercial handmade yarn that is a lot of fun. And I think that this was also a really, really nice exercise that if if in the washing, and so this is sort of what the roving looked like at the start. And so if, you have something and you're like, oh no, I have completely felted the fiber, you can start to pull it apart as I've started up here. You can sort of pull it apart so you can have something that you can spin and draft. And so maybe I'll probably try to work on this a bit off camera, but yeah, maybe at some point we'll have a second section, but look at how those colors go together. They're just so, so pretty. And I think hopefully they're reading true. I think that the purple has a little more pink in it, with some flecks of navy and stuff to it. But these colors are really, really lovely. And so thank you so much, Liz, for dyeing me some roving. Wait, tutorials for everything on Pinterest. Oh, sure. What color would you recommend to over dye a purple roving? Ooh, you could do almost anything you wanted. I suppose it depends on the color you want. I think safe choices would be like blue or gray, but you could over dye with like, you could go do more red. You could even try to do like a yellow to make it a little more brown. Let me make my face big again. Uh, Oops. I'm like straddling everything. No, wrong camera. There we go. I think that there, I'm big again. Um, so in the overdying highlighter yellow episode, I overdyed this bright yellow with Wilton's violet, and the yarn is beautiful. It's sort of like a reddish purple with green, is sort of the way that it broke. So, depending on how deep of a purple it is, you could really go in many directions. Because sometimes, if you overdye a gray yarn, the colors might not be as vibrant or neon. So, if it's sort of like a medium or a pale purple, then with enough dye, you could go in really like an opposite direction. Like you could probably go for, I don't think you could get a pure bright yellow, but you could go for something that's really orange or something if that's what you wanted. It just sort of depends. I think safe choices would be, greens, blues, grays, more purple, and stuff. But you could go wild and again play around with it. Take some little parts. Since you don't know what the fiber type is, take some little pieces, and I don't want to rest on the wheel. Take some little pieces and put them in some food coloring or something and see how the colors come out. So you could do some mini tests. You send me a message about the Little Mermaid. Uh-oh. Yeah, Lucy, I think you're on. I'll say in chat, because I know she can't hear me right now. Um, yes, it's a nice, beautiful art yarn. Oh, hey! I mean, I think that in general, like, is my general like approach to dyeing is that there. Okay, I'm gonna get off this stool because I'm like wobbling and okay, that. Okay, so my general approach to dyeing and all of this in general is that there are, yes, there are right and wrong ways to do things, but the most wrong you can do is something that isn't usable. So like a wrong would be like if you were to like burn your yarn to a crisp or something. But maybe if you do, maybe there's still something cool you can do with that. Maybe you can felt it somehow and turn it into a figurine and do something like that. So, there's it's fun to sort of think of ways that you can take, you can make there's so much beauty that you can make, and you just have to be a little creative, and so it's fun. Um, oh, don't apologize about the felting. Honestly, this has been a really nice exercise, because and so it wasn't this felted, but there's a yarn I dyed, and I was panicked about the level of felting. And, um, because like the outside edge was a little bit felted, but it, still, I have pictures of the yarn that it turned into. So it turned into a beautiful, beautiful yarn. But I was very nervous about that. And so that's, but I think that, yeah, I was surprised. So honestly, I wasn't sure if I would be able to do something with it. But I knew that if I wasn't, that if I couldn't, then I would turn it into something. There's cool if you end up with a felted fiber and you can't pull it apart, um, then you can use it like a super jumbo yarn. I mean, that's something that's popular and you can make like a little cowl, out of it. Felt some more so you get a little more yardage and you can do something with it. So there are, ways that you can turn something that might be a mistake into either a learning experience. So then, okay, maybe you want to watch how you handle it next time, but the fact that it's still usable is awesome. Um, oh, you don't know where that navy came from? You added it to the purple? Oh, funny. Maybe it's just because it's deeper. Um, I like it. Well, sometimes depending on the type of dye, the colors. here in the other camera, which this one has weird colors too, but it's pretty. I like it. And I'm having fun. I like being able to put a different spin on a spin along. Ha ha ha. Okay. Yes, I'm corny. But I like to, in general, I like to have a lot of fun with dyeing, and I appreciate that you guys all came to hang out with me today. And so as I am getting ready, so this is up so high that I'm having trouble like reaching the keyboard. All right. So as I'm getting ready to sign off, my Etsy shop has been up for a little over 12 hours now. So if there's yarn that you have enjoyed, or if you want to, it's another way that you can help contribute to the whole ChemKnits world, so that way I can get more materials for more fun dyeing videos. Here's a link to my shop. But then there's another way that you can support ChemKnits, and that is by becoming a patron. I think the mailman might be outside, so sorry about the dog barking. And so the other link is the Patreon, and it's really a personal way to get to interact with me and to help. I guess it's been a way that I've been able to start adding some additional content and videos. So patrons can get early access to a new video every month, exclusive behind the scenes sneak peeks as I'm working on other dyeing videos. So you kind of get to see a little bit of what's happening before I release it to the public. And it's just another way to help sort of with the Patreon's a nice platform for fans to help support the creators that they enjoy. So I have, as I've gone all in on this year, with Ryder starting school, there's now many avenues to the ChemKnits world, but it's all an adventure, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me and being patient as I'm learning. And yeah, I have fun. Oh, good! I'm so glad. And corny is awesome. Yeah, I'm corny. I don't know. Hey, I'm amazed that I can. Well, I guess maybe I'm not amazed that I can talk a lot. It is funny though, when I watch another live stream, I find myself talking, and then I'm like, oh, no one can hear me. Oh. But yeah, and again, I'm gonna go have some lunch and then start creating shipping labels so I can start dropping off these packages tomorrow morning. So yeah, so if you have been thinking about an order, if you get it in tonight, then I should be able to get that shipped out tomorrow morning. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining me. If when I edit out the no sound portion from the beginning, if the chat's replay doesn't remain, I'm sorry. It was a really fun chat today, but all the links to things that I mentioned are in the video description. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will chat with you soon. Goodbye, everyone.